like to call this meeting to order. This is the United Independent School District Advisory Bond Oversight Committee meeting for October 5th, 2017. It is 6:15. We do have a quorum. At this time, Mr. Zuniga, is there any updates to the agenda that the committee needs to be aware of?
At this time, no, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. If everybody will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving along to action items number 1. This is a discussion and possible action to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of the guaranteed maximum price for elementary school number 31 to be constructed at Cuatro Vientos North / Lomas del Sur subdivision.
Good evening, members of the Bond Oversight Committee, members of the audience. We're bringing for your consideration this evening the guaranteed maximum price for our new elementary school under the 2013 bond program. We've been working with a design builder, Linder Construction, in their design team for the past couple of months, and this is the price that has been submitted. $16,826,662.43. It's almost the same as what we had 2 years ago for San Isidro Elementary School. So we analyzed it. It is a cost that is lower than the RSP's cost index, which this price is shown on
The PowerPoint?
the PowerPoint.
And just one point of clarification, that is a GMP. They did provide 2 alternates to us. One of them is we'll start with alternate number 2 first. The courtyards in the new prototypes are now concrete. Initially they came out and it was landscaping, it was grass. There was some issues with flooding, mud, and all this other stuff, so we went ahead and went to concrete. Well, they're saying concrete's a little bland, so what they're looking at is can we pour dyed concrete to give it some color? That alternate is at $46,500. Alternate number 1 is to establish a paver, and we'll show it in a few seconds on the prototype. From one wing to the other wing, some pavers, basically for design, for aesthetics. And that alternate is $19,200. I would like to recommend that we accept both those 2 alternates. We feel that with the amount of contingency that's in the GMP, we will cover that and more, but to leave the contingency alone just in case at $400,000, add these 2 alternates to the GMP and move forward with that. That's our recommendation at this point.
So that's the $16,826,000 includes both these alternates?
Plus.
No, you would have to add.
Plus.
We'd have to add.
Okay.
Yeah, we would have to add. But again, we feel very confident that the $400,000 is more than enough contingency to complete this project, and we'll have plenty of contingency left over to easily cover that in the future.
What's the, I guess I'm trying to envision the 46.5, that's just to dye the concrete. How much concrete are we talking about?
I'm not sure what the square footage is in the courtyard.
It would be pretty much all the courtyard, whatever does not have the pavers, the remaining 100% of the concrete areas would have covered concrete. And it'll be mixed in with the concrete, so it'll be a permanent.
The dye itself,
Correct. Instead of just painting over it.
is that expensive?
With the concrete.
The dye, is that expensive?
It is very expensive.
But it'll last forever.
There, it's ready mixed,
Yeah.
similar to what we
Sure
did at
hope so.
United High School.
Yeah. If we try and paint it, it'll look good for a while, then it's gonna start
Chipping.
chipping, and we have to go back and repaint it and repaint it.
So without those 2 alternates, you said they thought it was kind of bland?
Yes.
Who's, they kind of bland?
Instructional personnel.
Instructional person.
Principals and staff and curriculum instruction department. Just to enhance it a little bit more. Because
Yeah.
If you look at the courtyard, it's pretty plain, it's just concrete.
It's like sidewalk.
It's all gray.
I guess
Other than the
yeah.
courtyard amphitheater, which is a very nice feature, the outdoor classroom, the remainder is basically just concrete.
So we probably should have taken this into consideration before this
Well,
alternate.
again, the initial prototypes that came out had grass, it was lawn.
Oh, okay.
And so when we started having issues with mud and ponding and puddling and all this other stuff, we decided to go ahead and change it to concrete. And now, once we poured it, and, the other prototype came out, now we can see it, we're asking if we can enhance it a little bit.
In the long run, you might save, I mean, there's no, it's like zero-scaping, I mean, there's no sprinkler
No.
system.
No.
There's no personnel going out there and cutting the grass.
Right.
Yeah, in 2014, when we formed a committee of principals and teachers, staff, to develop the new prototype, which was based on the previous, like Killam Elementary School was the last prototype. That was something the principals recommended at the time, to eliminate all the landscaping, because it created so many issues, and the drainage, and it really kind of rendered it unusable. So they said, we really need more of a real true courtyard, paved concrete. And that's where we moved to that. And they're happy overall, but what they were saying is just, can we do a little more aesthetic to enhance, just the appearance of the area?
Was there a specific budget, I guess, earmarked for this campus or this elementary school?
Yes, we're going to go over this in
Okay.
on the PowerPoint.
Yes, sir. Thank
If you look at what's on the screen now, our budget for this particular campus, Elementary 31, is $16,406,869.
Did you say that a comparable school was San Isidro Elementary?
Yes, if you look at what San Isidro, the final cost, which is the second item here on the slide, it's actually the total final cost, including the allowances, is $16,502,087. So that's what's really has cost to build San Isidro Elementary School. That cost now, if we compare it to the proposal that we're having before you tonight, this GMP proposal for School 31 at Lomas del Sur, Cuatro Vientos subdivision, which is $16,826,662. Very comparable. And keep in mind that San Isidro, that GMP was approved 2 years ago, 2015, really has increased over like 0.006% per year. That's the increase that we're facing here, which is very reasonable for 2 years. Based construction inflation has been between 3 to 4% per year since then, but they worked really hard to maintain the same GMP through negotiating with all their suppliers. Now, this GMP includes a contingency allowance of $400,000, a technology infrastructure allowance of $800,000, a design contingency of $25,000 in case there are any changes that are needed through the project, and a marquee allowance of $25,000. When we analyzed it, the GMP, if we take out the design fees and the allowances, the cost, including site work, is $147 per square foot, which for those of you that are in the construction field, you know that is a very reasonable cost for a building of this type, that including site work, which is all concrete pavement. The cost per square foot for the building only, you take out site work, because every location is going to be different on site work based on the terrain and utilities. But if you take out the allowances and site work, the cost for this elementary school at Lomas del Sur is $130 per square foot. Everything incorporated within the building, which is very reasonable, because we compared it to the Aris means. We did an assessment. The Aris means for the Laredo area, they recommend $152 is the cost they have. So we are below that considerably, with what Aris mean cost guidelines recommend. So we feel it's a very good price presented to the district. Now, if we go back a little bit, just talk about the project schedule. If this GMP is recommended by the committee and the board approves it, we will be scheduling this project to begin December 2017. Once we have all the contract in place and ready to go, it would be 2 months from now. And it's a very fast-track project because we're trying to build this school as soon as possible so that Salinas Elementary School students and staff can be relocated to this campus. That's why the building is completed December 2018, which is what the contractor is estimating, and they're committed to finishing it in 1 year. We could open this campus mid-year, January 2019. So Salinas Elementary School would be able to move to this location.
In the past, we've always said we don't want to open or try and open new schools like in the middle of the academic year. This is different. In other cases, we would have to move other kids around. Here, the whole campus just, we lift it and move it over here. No change of staff, no reassignment of students or anything. You just take the school and move it to this school. So
What's going to happen in Salinas?
initially in the bond program, it was scheduled to be demolished and rebuilt. At this point, nothing has changed, but that's down the road. I mean, we could keep it, repurpose it for some reason. I mean, we're not sure yet.
Now, here's the floor plan. It's identical to the previous 3 elementary schools. And what we were discussing earlier about the courtyard, you can see right there, we do have the amphitheater and a outdoor classroom. And we would be building those pavers between the north by the gymnasium to the south. Correct. So on the previous prototypes, we used to have a sidewalk that would go through there, and the remainder was all landscape. So we would follow that same curve, the architecturally designed and aesthetic with pavers. The remainder of the courtyard, we would use concrete, colored concrete, and come up with a nice design to just enhance it a little nicer environment for students and staff there. Again, some of the basic information similar to the previous schools. It's a 968 capacity, 104,000 square foot building, 44 classrooms, a science classroom, 2 computer labs, music room, multi-purpose classroom, 2 self-contained special ed classrooms, all the administrative areas, libraries with a conference room and computer stations, the gymnasium, of course, with a stage and ramps, security stations, and full access control. We have the command center right at the main entrance, control center for security, fully equipped kitchen, bus and parent-student drop-off pickup areas with canopies. This campus will have 100% LED lighting inside and outside, and not just the light bulbs, but the actual fixtures would be all LED, which is an enhancement over the previous schools. 100% standing seam roof, full landscape property perimeter fence. The entire building will have a brick on the exterior, no metal on the walls, 100% interior block, no sheetrock on any wall, and we have a 100% acoustical ceiling, except the gym, of course, and mechanical rooms. Concrete pavement. All the driveways and site work and parking lot sidewalks will be 100% concrete pavement. No asphalt here, which even though it's a little more expensive up front, the life, will pay for itself. It's much longer. All porcelain tile on all corridors, ceramic floor tile on student restrooms, electric hand dryers. That's another change that we've made. We've gone to paperless, practice on all of our restrooms. So we have all hand dry electric. All exterior doors will have the access control system. And of course, the technology rooms will be prepared for this. DX equipment with energy management system, automated temperature controls, and the controls will also be programmed to schedule on and off for exterior lighting. So to try to manage our electrical consumption a little better. We'll have a PA system, surveillance cameras throughout, and networking is included within the allowance. Cafeteria completed with 215 capacity, 150 parking spaces. Fire alarm will be fully automated, but we enhanced it now to the voice evac system, which is the latest system that the fire department recommends. Fire sprinklers also on the entire building. We do have motion sensors for interior lights in corridors and support areas. Every classroom will have ceiling fans, automated irrigation, and playground equipment included. 2 playground equipments, one for the lower and another one for the upper grades. And again, the courtyard, it will be all concrete, and if the alternate is approved, would be with colored concrete. The amphitheater and the outdoor classroom with canopies included. We do have a drainage perimeter system there built in, and then the allowances mentioned on the previous slide. So we're recommending, approval of this GMP. We feel it's very, very reasonable, keeping in mind that compared to our previous goals 2 years later, prices have gone up. We did evaluate this with a contractor, and really some of the materials prices have gone up a little bit, especially electrical and plumbing. But they try to minimize it and try to make it up as much as we could. The site is a good site. Some of you are familiar with this property. It's on Lomas del Sur, Cuatro Vientos, Lomas del Sur subdivision, Lomas del Sur Boulevard. North of that area, there's 2 streets that are already built, which is Cantú and Santos Street. It'll be very nice because it's a corner location. In the future, within the next 9 months, Guaymas Street will also be built, and that's going to be west of the school. So actually, this property will have 3 streets on the north, east, and west, and it'll be very good for traffic circulation for our parents. I don't know if you have any questions.
Just on irrigation, do our schools have 2 meters? Do we have an
Yes.
irrigation meter and then we have
Yes.
a meter for the?
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Backflow.
Backflow a little bit, just for charge purposes, because
Right.
pricing's gone crazy. I mean, I'm surprised that after 2 years, you were still able to keep the price down. So that to me is something. And then, when I see the pavers, when you talk about pavers, I always think about how people put names on them and stuff like that. Maybe in the future, these elementary schools can use that as fundraisers. Alumni, kids that graduate from there can use it. Maybe that'll be something nice in the future for
Buy a brick.
fundraising for the school.
Yeah.
And that'll pay itself back. Yeah, that's something neat.
And again, you saw the final cost for the San Isidro Elementary was $16.5 million. Well, that's the final, or more or less going to be the final cost. We've been taking money out of contingency for improvements that we would have to make along the way. So that increased the initial construction cost estimate that was given by Leyendecker. Well, here, those changes have already been incorporated into the 16.8, but we fully reestablished the contingency back to 400,000.
Okay.
So that's why it seems a little higher. About $200,000
Right.
of that was added to the construction cost.
Yeah, on San Isidro Elementary, like Mr. Swing mentioned, we enhanced the design to go with the LED fixtures for all interior lighting. We added the fire evacuation system. We made some upgrades on technology, conduits and systems. We had several millwork changes and upgrades. So we did spend about $250,000 of the contingency. All those changes are incorporated in this design. So we don't foresee using that contingency allowance on this project. I mean, not even half of it. But that's why the price, it's a little bit higher now. But if you take those into account, the price is really almost the same.
Well, I know that fire marshals also make some changes.
Well, that
Yes.
voice evac to start with,
Yeah.
that was a requirement by the fire marshal.
And I guess every time you build a school, you're going with new ordinances, whatever comes out. So that's going to be an issue.
Right. Right.
Do I hear a motion?
Well, a motion would consist of adding the 65,700, the alternate 1 and alternate 2.
Yes, sir, that would
On the
be our,
motion.
that would be our recommendation.
Was there a motion on the table?
Well,
I didn't catch that.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to recommend the approval of the GMP with alternate 1 and alternate 2.
Have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second that with just discussion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I had a question for staff on, once this is approved, the GMP, of course, approved by the board, the GMP is what it is, right? I mean, that's fixed, they can't go over that.
It's a guaranteed maximum
Right,
price.
under the design build.
Unless the owner, like the district,
We request that.
requests some other change or modification to the,
Historically, from the other projects that we've seen, we've always stayed with this GMP.
correct.
Or
Yeah,
below.
pretty much.
I mean, sometimes we make enhancements or changes, but out of the contingency, if approved by the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to add that we can get a picture of the die when it's all said and done.
Absolutely.
The way that turned out.
Sure.
See the final product. That's a good-
Yeah, we'll work with the architect and come up with some options, and then we'll present it, see how it came out.
All right, I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
On to action item number 2. This is a discussion and possible action to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of CSP 051-2017 main security station upgrades at 18 elementary school campuses, 10 middle school campuses, 5 high school campuses, and 1 alternative school campus.
Yes, thank you. Members of the Bond Oversight Committee and members of the audience, we bring to you this item, which is the second and final phase of the project to build a security control centers district-wide. As you know, part of the 2013 bond program, one of the main items that parents and committee members wanted to ensure that security was enhanced at all of our campuses. We have completed 7 of our existing schools, plus the 4 new schools. They all have this control center built in. This would take care of the entire district, the other remaining 34, 35 campuses. We did receive 5 proposals, but we're recommending at this time the best and lowest bid, which was from Summit Building and Design, in the amount of, I believe, it's $1,579,613. This project was designed by Munoz Architects, and Randy Hollis will make a brief presentation on what it will entail. But, security, as we know, is a paramount in our campuses, and this will definitely ensure that our teachers and our students feel safer during the day, and we have better control, and all the guidelines as to the operations on how these systems operate are in place. Right now, as you may notice, as you go to our campuses, security officers or peace officers are at the main entrance, checking everybody who goes in and out. But these stations will allow us to ensure that we have surveillance systems right there within their command center. Right now, they really don't have the surveillance. This will allow them to check the entire campus inside and out through the surveillance systems. They'll have the Raptor systems located at that center. As an idea, if you go to any of our new 9th grades or one of our 7 newer elementary schools, you can see that command center right there where our security officers are located. So it'll be a great enhancement to all our campuses. So, Randy, if you want to go ahead or Luis, make a presentation, and they'll go more into detail as to what's included. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. Members of the committee, good evening. I wanted to introduce, I'm Randy Hollis, but I did want to introduce Luis Amada, our project manager on this project. Okay, just to walk through the project. This is the full list of schools. As you can see, these comprise 34 of the district schools. Phase 1 was 7 schools. So in total, we've now, the completion of this project have done 41 schools throughout the district. And that is retrofitting existing schools. Of course, the new projects are all incorporating this feature in one way or the other. So we've done our design. We've taken an approach to this to make the budget. We have a schedule. It will be starting in December and completing in 2018. And that's to allow, because it's a pretty good number of schools that the contractor will have to build out during that period. There's the price that Mr. Rangel had talked about. And this is the first. We took a modular approach wherever we could to gain efficiency and cost. So you have type A prototypes. These are in effect little mini police officer stations or offices within a very small area, so they're very efficient. They have the full technology, as he mentioned, for surveillance. Every school at the bottom, we have created what is a man trap with the addition of doors. So you have a fully enclosed, secure entry, controllable by the officer in the station. You have in the upper schools, you will, as you'll see, you'll have actual metal detectors, but not in the lower level schools. And this is also controllable from the reception desk, usually in the middle of the schools, in case the officer has to step out for one reason or the other. So it will always be under control 100% of the time, either visually direct or there is a camera at the very entry in case it has to be done remotely with an intercom. Okay?
I'm sorry to interrupt you just
Yeah.
real quick. So on both doors, do they have access control, or just the door leading into the hallways of the actual school itself? The initial door when they go in, the visitors, that has access control, or just the once you get past security,
Both,
both of them do?
both of them do, right.
I
And
think we're going to show that
Yeah.
in the next,
I'm getting ahead of you, I'm sorry.
because it's the other project.
Yeah.
They go in and then they can check or review, whatever their visit, that purpose of visit, and then, that's why it's a draft now.
I didn't know.
It's a man trap.
I'll let you guys continue.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but that was a good question. I mean, yes, it is, we've created a man trap, and it's controllable from 2 locations here and at the reception. So you have that redundancy built in. Okay, this is where you have an existing, basically vestibule. So by the addition of the correct hardware on the doors, these are existing doors here and here, and you were just building in between, kind of like we did in Phase 1. So just by providing the correct access control hardware on the existing doors, we get that function in just using what's there. Okay, so now we have, those are A and B prototypes. These are special conditions. Each school was unique where we couldn't do prototypes in this case. This is Newman Elementary. In here, we had an office, a storage room for the library. Perfect location. Very narrow hallway. We couldn't put it in the middle like we did on the others. So we grabbed the storeroom. We created another storeroom for the storage that was displaced within the library. And then you have your pass-through windows and your doors here for access. Okay? These are, in this case, Clark Elementary School. We created it in the corridor in this location, and in the corridor of this location at Salinas. Okay? And then at Pettis, we have taken a space over here. It was storage. It was available space next to the existing corridor. And again, we have a situation where we're using existing doors there. And then this is at Troutman, 6th grade campus. We have a space here. We couldn't create a man trap. There's a couple of these we couldn't, because in this location, the restrooms for the kids are right at the front entry. It's sort of an unusual situation. So you can't create that man trap with kids going in and out and keep that security. So this is one case where it wasn't really practical to do that. Then at United Middle School, this is an addition on the end of the existing vestibule that we've created. So we're using the existing vestibule for the man trap with the right hardware. And then at LBJ High School, we've created a module within that big lobby right next to administration. At Alexander 9th grade, this is in the, where it opens into the cafeteria space. It's a big open campus, but this is the assigned entry point. So the existing, right here is an existing vestibule. We've modified it, taken some doors out, enlarged it so it all functions as a unit. And then over here at United High School, we've added another module inside of the big open space that's right next, again, to administration. And the man trap here is actually, in this case, utilizing existing doors, is in front of the officer's station, but he has visual control looking out into it. So you still have that man trap function there.
That Alexander 9th grade is probably the toughest one to really secure because it's wide open. Everything's outside. So we're doing the best we can on this one, but.
Okay, and that's the tour of 34 schools that we're doing the work on.
So on the, one question on the Troutman Middle, 6th grade, I think it was, you said that y'all couldn't do that man trap there. So basically, it's just whoever's there, the body that's there, the police officer, checking people in and out. But there's no access control or?
Access control, but just for the exterior door.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
They won't have the second set of doors.
because the kids have to
Because students
have
to get
access
in.
to the bathrooms.
Correct. So we can't have that man trap there.
Why, they put bathrooms right by the exit door?
Yeah, pretty close. Here's the
We're so
entrance.
close to it,
Right
what
by
I'm
the
saying?
entry.
Yeah, here's the entrance right here, and here the restroom.
Pretty old school, right? Or how long has it been around?
It's been around a while.
70s, 1970s.
Oh, well, that tells
It's
you
a
everything, yeah.
6th grade here on Del Mar.
We didn't have those security concerns back then.
No.
Well, if there's any money left over, tear down the bathrooms and
relocate.
move them
And
and
move.
do the man trap.
Well, when we get there, we can look at that for sure.
We'll make a motion.
So I'm looking at the budget, and I see the section says safety and security upgrades. How do I read that in comparison to this bid amount?
I'm sorry, you're not talking.
No, it's okay,
Any
just,
cases or anything, so. It's the 1 million, like if you look at the unencumbered balance, we're kind of right there, it's 1.3 million is available, because the rest has been expended on the 7 schools we made a year ago. So for this project, we have about 1.3 million.
Yeah, so it is
Short about
about 250,000 over budget, unfortunately, but, I mean, we went over this like 3 generations of designs to try to bring it to the minimal possible cost.
Well, no,
But
that's-
something that we added that probably caused some of this increase, we included air conditioning in each of these control centers. Originally, we did not have that, but with the 7, and that's why we did some samples at the first, like to try out exactly how it would work. We did the 7 schools on the first phase, kind of like just to try out and exactly see what would happen, kind of like samples. And the comments that came back, I mean, they love the technology, they love the location and the control capacity, surveillance, but the air conditioning was really an issue that they requested, because they're there in that control center all day.
On the 7 that are already
Yes,
done.
on the 7 that we built.
But we went back and put air conditioning.
We went back
Went back and put
and
it.
added those, but we had to do that, through our operations budget. So these designs now include fully air-conditioned spaces. So that kind of raised the cost a little bit. Originally, when these were budgeted 4 years ago, they did not have that.
Are they
air
window
conditioning.
units or what are they?
No, actually, we're bringing in air conditioning from the mechanical room.
Oh, okay.
It's inside, interior
So
AC
it's
unit.
more labor.
It's correct, and we got to do the duct work, and
Exactly.
so it increased a little bit. But, I mean, everything else was kept to the bare minimums, but it's expensive because of the technology that has to go into these rooms. Keep in mind, we're making it a control command center where they'll have immediate access to law enforcement, to the UPD, surveillance systems within that room. They'll be able to control everything, and also the access controls into any or,
Keep people away.
yes. So, but we feel there's sufficient funds somewhere within our rest of our projects to come up with this extra 250,000.
Good thing
The
you
reason,
brought
this project is, I mean, it's probably one of the most critical, I mean, safety and security is paramount in our campuses.
I'm sure there's other
So-
directors that would.
Yeah.
Well, with the way things are, I think with safety, I don't think we want to leave anything behind.
No, just, obviously, it's just a matter of looking and saying, okay, guys, we got to make up that somewhere.
We'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll find it.
Yeah, the first 7, we were able to get it within budget. What happens on this also, like Randy was mentioning, we have a lot of special conditions. The first 7 were all the same prototype. And you get your economies of scale with the volume because they're all the same. But on this project, there are many special, I mean, the older campuses, sometimes the hallways are narrow or there's not enough space, there's no utilities in that area. So all those special circumstances and conditions raise the price because now you lose this prototype repeat construction. So there's a lot of, I guess you could say, customized control centers, and the cost is going to be higher per square foot. But we feel the design has everything that is needed by our security officers and law enforcement, and we did get some input from the first 7 that we did, prototypes to get feedback and see how we could improve it.
And when you say security, they are police officers, right?
We have peace officers, police officers, UPD in every campus, but many times also when they are busy in other areas of the high school or middle school, we have security officers also. I don't know how many we have in every campus,
I
but
think it's 1 police officer per, at least at the elementary,
Right.
one police officer per elementary school, and I think it's security guard as well.
1 or 2 security guards. So
security guards.
sometimes they take when they're busy in something else.
Are they armed
You know.
security guards or they're just?
The security guards are not, but the police officers are.
Yeah.
They may take turns as to who is in charge, but there will always be somebody in charge of this control
I
center.
was gonna say, it could be any employee, really. I mean, if
Yeah.
we certified some teachers and some like that, I mean, they could it's not like the technology is so, it's designed for only a security guard. It's easy stuff, right? So
Sure.
you just need to manage it with
Yeah,
something.
they need to be trained on how to use all this
Of course,
facility.
like, yeah.
But now, one comment is that for whatever reason, if there's no one there, we also included in this project all the communications to our receptionist in the school. They will be able also to control access into the campus. So we have dual systems.
Now, those camera speakers are still going to be operational, correct?
Correct.
Right, so, they'll have to talk to that camera. The receptionist will ask, what are you doing here? Not, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
How can I help?
A nice feature that we included on this second round is, and I'm sure Mr. Perez will talk a little bit more about that, as visitors come in and they enter our facility, our surveillance cameras will immediately go on video recording. So there will always be
They're motion activated.
yes, a video of who comes in or out, very good quality cameras that will be connected to the access control.
And even though it was a competitive sealed proposal, I know that there's probably other factors that are involved, right, when you all score. If it would have been a hard bid, they would have still came out on top.
Correct.
So I'm
That's correct.
seeing, right, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
They still had the, as far as price is concerned, at the lowest price.
Yes, we evaluated other selection criteria like quality, past experience with these companies, their financial condition. Price was just one of those factors, but overall, still Summit Building and Design. I mean, being the lowest in price helped them because they got more points from the get-go, but every other criteria, the second lowest, as you see on the breakdown there, was, I believe, Line Decker Construction, but it was about $150,000 difference. But all the other, we've had very good references from Summit Building and Design, and we've used them on a couple of other projects.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to recommend the award of CSP 051-117, main security station upgrade of various UAZ campuses to AOC Kaufman Ltd., create some building and design in the amount of $1,579,613.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, this is discussion of possible action to recommend the Board of Trustees approval of RFP 068-2017, surveillance cameras and access controls for secondary campuses.
Good evening, Bond Oversight Committee members. The recommendation tonight is to recommend M1 Networks to complete this project for the amount of $2,580,985. This is for the surveillance and access controls and cameras at various campuses, and Mr. Perez will be making a presentation on the actual project.
Thank you, Mr. C. Members of the board, members of the audience, Mr. Zuniga. The following project is the second phase. About 18 months, I presented phase 1, which is the surveillance cameras and the access controls for the elementary campuses. We went with the elementary campuses because they had the oldest technology. They had analog technology. We had done like an upgrade for our secondary campuses about 5-6 years ago, just in the basic areas. That's why we went first with the elementaries. We just finished that project. October 24th, I'll be presenting to the principals the new guidelines. So we'll be issuing cards to all of our teachers in the elementary campuses and some key personnel. This is the second phase. We're using the latest technology. This is the new generation of cameras. If you see, there's like four little cameras over here around this big circle. Why are we doing that? We do that in an effort to save cabling. You know, you put it in the middle and you're controlling the whole perimeter, so you don't have one on each corner. It saves us on the number of licenses also, by being one license, on the number of components that it takes to be able to run the cable all the way back to the computer room. Much better resolution, less recording storage, because the type of camera we have, it is motion sensor. So if there's no traffic or anything like that in our hallways, it's not recording, okay? Now, if there is movement, it records, and it also sends the transmission compressed, so it utilizes less bandwidth also. That saves us money on the type of connections we have between our campuses in central offices. But the biggest advantage is the last one, and our CFO said it perfect because I was explaining it to her. And it's very easy to use. This type of camera you can adjust with software. You don't have to get somebody on a ladder, get up there, and be yelling somebody, like she said, can you see me now? Is that better? You focus? No, you do it all through the software. So that saves us money. That's the next generation, and she said it perfect. So that's the kind of camera we'll be using. This is from one of our existing campuses, Santos Benavides. It shows you the type of resolution we have. You see it very, very clear. If you zoom in, we can see license plates, which in the previous cameras we couldn't see. So if somebody drives by in front of our campuses, you can see the difference between an Escalade and a Yukon or a Tahoe. You can see the difference. You can actually read the license plate. Okay, that's the kind of technology we're using. Why we combined these two projects, it used to be surveillance cameras and access controls. There were two separate projects. We combined them, and I'll show you in the last slide why we combined those two. Because everybody that uses any of these devices, we have these three plus the one with the camera at the front of our buildings. This is the access card reader. Now, this would only grant access to anybody that is authorized already by the principal, okay, or by a police officer, for example. School principal at any time can see who is in the building, who has come in, who has left the building, and I'll show you a transaction report in a minute. If the coaches want to go play on Saturday, the principal doesn't have to go to the building anymore physically and open the door. She can do it, or he can do it from their house. They can go ahead and grant access from 8 to 12. The doors can be locked at 12 o'clock, so they better get out of there because they won't be able to leave. Okay, we're in the process of coordinating the alarms because everybody always asks, what about the alarm? I mean, that's something I'm working with Mr. Rangel in the future so that we give access, temporary access to principals like that. The buildings can be programmed to be open and closed already on the computer. Okay, you can say at 7 o'clock, you can allow people to come in. At 4 o'clock, everybody gets out. You can pre-program that already, or you can change it as you go. This is one of the screens. This screen comes out of the software, okay? That's not one of our teachers. It comes straight out of the software, just to avoid any problem, personnel. If you see here, you can pre-program already the type of access you're going to give. This is the screen that a person that is programming the system will see. For example, you can say, I want these teachers to only have access to the back door where the kids go to the playground. I don't want them to be coming in through the front door. You pre-program this already so that they can easily select one of those categories, okay? Or you can say, I just want access to the library, for example. I was the librarian going into the library, coming out from the library. We identify an average of 6 to 8 doors, key doors around the perimeter that are gonna be having these access controls. Not every door in a school has the access control. This will be a $10 million project easily if we do that. So we pretty much prioritize which are the ones, and we tie it to our camera system so that when they come in, it takes a picture. That is the picture of the individual coming in into the school. This is a transaction report, so the principal at any time can see any of these entries. And when you click on that entry, it changes this picture. It tells you exactly who came in and at what time did they come in, and if they're still in the building, if they had not left the building. So we synced these two projects by doing that because we thought it was very important to be able to know who came in and who left. Okay, there were two projects that were individual on the bond, and because of the technology, we were able to link those two. And this is coming straight. I believe this is the STEP Academy, at the entrance of the STEP Academy. Right now, we have all the elementary campuses and the STEP Academy, because we had remodeled the STEP Academy. United, ninth grade campus also, Freedom has it, Veterans has it. This is the kind of technology we've been putting in place. Yeah. I don't know if you have any questions.
How does this work with the fire alarm system?
Yeah, it's not linked to the fire alarm because the fire alarm technology in all of the buildings is older technology. They're finally putting the new type of technology in there, but it's not linked at this time. But it's something that we're looking at. They do sell systems that is pretty much all in one. All the different things into one, but that's not something that we have.
I'm just kind of concerned, the fire alarm goes off and make sure all the doors get unblocked automatically.
That's something that we can look into.
You can always leave because it's a striker that's active.
Yes.
The exit doors have a panic device that you can leave regardless of what the access control has. That, like, they have to be available to exit.
Yeah, people just can't get in. They just can't get in.
It's just they're locked to get in. And really, our fire department, they prefer that the fire alarm is a separate entity controlled only
Yeah.
through their panic.
So you never know.
Like any other systems having access to
Yeah,
it.
that's a good thing. We had an issue before in our office that the alarm went off on a Sunday and all the doors were open. It was a sensor that was malfunctioning and the alarm went off and all the doors were locked.
Locked?
And that was unlocked.
Oh, unlocked.
So the entire day, nobody realized that everything was unlocked.
It's better to have it separated.
It's separate right now.
I know you're presenting this, but where does police, PD come in with this technology? Is it linked to their system also?
Yes, definitely. They do have in the command center here in Lindenwood, they have 3 big screens where they can see almost every single camera in the district.
So the same reports that a principal can get?
Yes, sir.
they
Yes,
can
sir.
get, but also if any card, if somebody gets into the system to create a card for somebody, it gives them all access.
Mhm.
Somebody at the police department's gonna see that they issued out a card like that?
We can train them upon request. Right now, the ones that will be overseeing the security of that is the principal, because we're just replacing keys. So the principal has the authority to say, yes, you're gonna have a key from this time to this time. But the police department, to give you an example, we've had situations where somebody breaks in the middle of the night, and the police officers don't go into the building. They see it with the 3 screens, and they can see what's going on before the officer even gets into the school. Those are the eyes, the remote eyes, and that technology has been used already. They have 3 big screens on the command center. But we will look at the access cards. Right now, we're just replacing keys, pretty much. That's what we're doing. But the teachers are loving the one that coming in from the playground. It even saves us on money on electricity, because in the past, they'll leave a door open, so air condition is leaving. Now they're gonna be able to scan. And veterans are already using it. They scan, they come in, and they go out.
Or a custodian that has to stay.
Same thing,
for a
sir.
amount of time.
Yeah, same thing.
I think the favorite thing to do was block the door with a chair, leave it open so they wouldn't have to go around or call somebody. And now, of course, now they got the access control. Now they can just come in.
Yeah.
Of course, that also is a safety issue,
Yeah.
leaving the door open.
If I see that, I can go berserk on them, call you.
Our standard it's the Vigilon system and Aerocon cameras. So principals that move from one campus to another, they're already trained how to get those videos. Police officers, the same thing. It's a district-wide standard that we have. We're almost 3,000 cameras district-wide. I mean, we're adding almost 400 with this project.
Excellent.
Thank you.
If there's no more discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve item 3, RFP 0682017, surveillance cameras and access controls for the secondary campuses. And phase 2, right? And do we have an amount for that? I
Yes.
lost my place here. So M1 Networks, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And an amount, $2,580,985.
I have a motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next is the information items. Number 1, current bond project status report.
Members of the bond committee, members of the audience, going over the construction projects report, just on the summary slide, we show here where our 4 schools currently under construction, the new middle school. We are about 88% complete. The substantial completion date at this point is October 29th. However, we've already received, we just haven't processed it and make it formal. We have not, but we did receive a request for an extension of time on this particular project. They've really been pounded by bad weather, inclement weather the past 2 or 3 months. So they are requesting, and so far it seems like it is a reasonable request to extend it to December 15. But at this point, they're at 88% complete. We project for them to probably finish it by November, early December, for us to actually occupy the building. Of course, this will not be open for students until fall of 2018. but it will be completed. San Isidro Elementary School, and that it's about 82% complete. Their current completion date is December 31st, 2017, on contractual date. We don't foresee any problem. They should be able to complete it by then. Again, this campus will not open until the fall of 2018, but it'll give us 6-7 months to finish the punch lists, ensure everything is ready for our students, and moving furniture and equipment. The third project, Alexander ninth grade campus, that one, they're supposed to finish it by contract by July 15, 2018, to again also open fall of 2018. They're at 47% complete. They really were affected pretty much by a lot of inclement weather, but they're trying to make it up, working weekends and overtime every day to try to catch up. So far, the contractor assures us that they will finish it by July so that we can open it in the fall, which is critical for us.
Of course, the good thing about that one is there's already an Alexander ninth grade campus, and it could be the same situation where if it's for whatever reason delayed, we can kind of open it during the middle of the year and they just move from one campus to the other.
Right, so one good thing about Alexander Ninth, you can actually see it from the loop, but something good is that Killam Development has finished all their development that was related to this campus. You can actually go on Del Mar and past the church and all that. You see the entrance to their new Killam Winfield Cove subdivision. The same, there's a connection at the loop. A little further of Winfield Parkway, there's an entrance into the new subdivision. But all utilities, outside utilities like water, sewer, storm drainage, electrical, and driveways into this campus are already 100% done and are accepted by the city. So that was something that was very important to have all that completed. As you know, we're building this campus pretty much in the middle of the ranch, or the Killam Ranch.
Yeah.
There was nothing out there. And we've been working with Killam Development for the last 3 years, and all that has been completed ahead of schedule. So we feel about that now. Really, the ball is on Lion Decker's court to finish it as per the contract. But they assure us that they'll do whatever it takes to complete it. LBJ ninth grade, I'm sorry.
Just for the record, we lost quorum, but we are only on information items, so no actions are going to be taken. So we're going to continue with the meeting. Legal discipline.
We're good, right?
Yeah,
We're good.
On the fourth project that we have under construction, LBJ ninth grade campus, which was recently started on March of 2016, but that one is scheduled to be finished by July 15 of 2019.
2019, so
Correct.
they'll go in the fall of 2019?
Correct.
Oh.
That's when they will occupy the building.
Bring
Right
the
now,
guys
we're
that are
only at
working over there, over here to this other one.
yes, 13% completion there, but they're on schedule. And then as far as additions, renovations, we do have the Alexander Building additions, also by Lion Decker, was started early this year. They're supposed to finish by August 1st, 2018. Unfortunately, because of all the inclement weather really hit us during the most susceptible stage of construction, which is the site work. They've spent weeks and weeks when no work could be done out there. Even right now, I mean, they try to get into it, and it's just so, everything is wet, and
Ranchers start praying for rain.
I mean, we should stop, right?
yes, I mean, they,
Well, hopefully we'll have some nice weather from here on in.
yeah.
It looks beautiful.
And verbally, they've committed to us that, they'll expedite as much as they can, but it's going to be very difficult to finish it by the fall of 2018 for the new performance arts and the agricultural science building. It may be a few months after that, but we'll deal with that. But at least they're trying to do some work out there when it's dry, you know.
I think our biggest concern will probably be the fine arts building. That's the toughest one. They already have a band hall, so, I mean, they can still start the
Yeah,
school year.
yeah, they
so.
could, and they could move in, let's say, if instead of August, they finish in October, November, they can move in at any time, because they're already there, they'll just know their equipment. The Ag Science building, I mean, they're already taking those courses, but they're being bused to United High School. So the same thing, when it's completed, they can just continue their classes in the new facility. I guess we'll go to the campus presentations, each one.
Is there any particular campus?
We do have detailed reports with photographs for each one of the projects
Should have photos
in your packet.
In your packet, so.
Yeah, some of
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm good with this.
Have we used a drone lately, or no?
No, we haven't.
No.
You have one?
Yeah, I don't know if he was here that time.
No, but that was that our drone?
Yes, it was Munoz Architects.
Munoz Architects.
Yes. They did use it on some of their
Yeah.
reports.
Just out of curiosity, every board meeting, you give an update on the bond?
Mhm.
Every board meeting, you give an update on the bond?
No,
You
No.
don't? What was the official day that you would say that the bond was approved?
the actual 400,
Yeah, the bond was-
November 2013?
2013.
November 2013. I don't know the exact date on November, but
Well, talk to Chairwoman and see if there should be like some point to do just one review.
like an update
Just an
report on
update. I mean,
progress.
I would do it every month, I would say every 2 years or something like that, but something.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies, but then, people start asking questions, at least there could be an update.
Yeah.
But we can give it to Chairwoman, because I would like to get her in front of the board to give that presentation. She's not here, why not? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the item, on the, I guess it's bond program financial report?
Correct.
I looked at the last time that we met, and I just kind of wanted to bring you the big changes. We added about 3.7 million of expenses, and pretty much they were the United High School and United South High School. Both of those line items grew by about 1.5 million, and it was all the furniture and equipment that Cordy bought. And, but as you well know, those two campuses opened in August on time and with everything in there. And then the other one was Freedom Elementary. We added about 700,000, maybe 710,000, again, in furniture and equipment, and that's our elementary school. So it gives us an idea now how much our ninth grades are really going to cost, because they're the biggest part of this bond program. Just another update, we did sell our bonds in July, 120 million. I think that's a historical amount for this district. We had some really decent rates. I didn't bring the information, but maybe I can just put as information next time. And we did unfortunately have to increase taxes by about 4 cents, I believe. But as our values grow, hopefully we can maybe, I don't know, decrease a penny or, so I know.
Be careful what you say.
I know, because.
That was programmed, wasn't it?
And actually, we're below where we said we were going to be when we made the presentation.
We've only increased, to date, like we said, we were going to increase by, let's say, 13 cents. It was like 12.9. We've only increased, I believe, 7 cents.
And that's even with the
And
big
that's the
hit that
bulk
we took
of
to the
the-
values last year.
Yeah, that's the bulk of the money sold, except for 88 million.
We've
So-
seen development around schools, so that's really how,
Yeah,
the-
yes.
In theory, that's how it's supposed to work.
Right,
For the
future
school, the incomes
values
come
will
in.
pay for
Right.
that, exactly. So that was just to give y'all an update, so that's it for now. And then next month, hopefully, we'll see these GMPs that you just discussed, the GMP, the security stations, and the surveillance cameras. Hopefully, we'll get the contracts out, and then you'll see them in next month's budget.
And on the opening of the new schools, were there any hitches? Everything went pretty good?
I don't know, I mean, Cordy
With
can
the
tell you
furniture
as
and
far
everything
as the
else?
furniture and equipment.
Everything went great. I mean, the ninth grade, I guess the last time we had done a massive building like that was United High School. I think we forgot how long it took. So, but I think it went well. It went well. Everything was installed by the first day of school. And we've had like no complaints. I mean, have you all had a chance to walk the building?
Well, that's what I was going to tell you all. There's a dedication the week before Thanksgiving. There's like,
14th and 15th.
yeah, so we can ask communications to send you all an invitation.
For the United ninth grade camps?
Well,
Yeah,
actually, I
I'll
was
take-
telling Mr. Head that next time we have a meeting, I'm not sure we're gonna have one November, December, somewhere. I'd like to have it at one of the ninth grade campuses.
Okay.
So
Common areas?
Common areas, kind of. So, they're really neat. I mean, the school is beautiful.
That's a good idea. Have a meeting there.
The comments we've received from teachers and administrators, and they're very, very happy with the design and the functionality. They love the campus. I mean, they feel like it's almost like a university, or it's really
Very nice.
functional and very nice, the design overall. But it opened without any major issues.
Thank God.
Everything was in place.
I think that was one of the campuses that we talked about,
It was very scary.
It was scary because we couldn't hear any.
the opening of the hallways. It's too quiet.
Actually, the
Yeah.
hallways are very wide. That's one of the first things, I think even with the new high school and stuff,
I don't remember which campus it was that we had the architects have to come back and we talked about opening the hallways a little more.
it could have been the ninth grade.
It might have been one of those.
Yeah, but we made sure we're wide enough where
Yeah.
you don't have a bunch of kids bumping into each other.
Exactly.
It usually starts,
Yeah.
hey, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So, we did.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the financial report. Open agenda, do we have any items to discuss?
And not at this time, sir.
Okay. The next committee meeting, I guess you'll go ahead and communicate to us when
That's correct.
that'll happen. Public comments, did anybody sign up? Public comments? Okay, thank you very much. If there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Second. All's in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very
Meeting
much. I
adjourned.
really-